My name is Martha Meyer. I'm a children's librarian at the Evanston Public Library, and also I attend St. Luke's Episcopal Church, where I am on the Green Team.
My name is Sharon Smaller, and I'm a member of Beth Emmet, and I currently chair our climate action group, and it's called Dainu. So I'm talking today to Martha Meyer, and we're talking about specifically eating a plant-based diet. So Martha, can you describe what is a plant-based diet? Kind of clarify what that means.
Yeah, well, it's hard. A plant-based diet is just a diet that centers around plant foods. It is a really flexible term. It's defined by what you do eat, not by what you don't eat. There's lots of different gradations within this decision. That's the tricky part. You can base your meals on plants, and there's a lot of different ways to go about it. So here are some of the different flavors of plant-based, going from strictest to loosest. So the strictest one is called whole food plant-based. They always go together for that particular kind of eating. So when you eat plants that under that diet, you eat the whole seed or the whole fruit, not elements carved off of it. So like whole grains are whole, like oats, rather than white bread, which has had the wheat has had the bran and other nutrients stripped away. So or like the other thing that's really intense about whole food plant-based is you don't eat any oil. So you eat lots of seeds, fruit, vegetables, beans, tofu, whole grains, especially grains that have complete proteins, and nuts in moderation. That's whole food plant-based. So then there's another one that's called vegan. That means no meat, no dairy, no eggs, no honey. But it doesn't specify like that you have to keep things whole. It's not like that. But I would say a word about cheese, which is I think what many Americans would think about right away. Cheese is actually like really addictive, and it messes with your brain just like drugs do. Have you seen your brain on drugs? It's a sort of the same kind of thing. So it's really hard to give up cheese, but you can break the addiction. There is a whole book about it by Dr. Neal Barnard. He's the president of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. And the book is called The Cheese Trap. But if you can't break your addiction to cheese and you can't give up cheese, then be a vegetarian who aspires to be a vegan. Don't try to do it all at once either if you're a big cheese fan. Then there's an interesting hybrid one that was proposed by Mark Bittman, who is one of the great New York Times columnists about food. He calls it VB6. That's vegan before 6 p.m. That means 2/3 of your meals in a day are vegan. And then the other one, you eat meat. That actually helps the planet more than if you're 100% vegetarian, which is really hard to believe, but that's the research. Then there's vegetarian, which is just no meat, but you can eat eggs and dairy and cheese and all that. And then there's pescatarian, which is you don't eat meat except for fish. And then finally, there's flexitarians, where you eat meat, but you mostly eat it as a condiment, like the chicken broth in your soup or the few pieces of beef in your stir fry that, for flavor. So those are all the different gradations of how you could still go plant-based. You can call yourself a lot of different things. I would also add two different double Ds, I call it. You eat food with more diversity. So you try to eat 30 different plants a week. Other people say eat the rainbow when it comes to vegetables. And the other one is nutrient density. Eat foods with more nutrient density. And what is nutrient density? It means that for every ounce of food that you take in, there's a lot of the good stuff in food, like vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals and antioxidants. So greens like kale are the most nutrient dense things that you can eat, and beans and berries and nuts and seeds, and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, and whole grains and spices. Those are all nutrient dense. So however you decide to do this, whatever flavor you want to do, the important thing is how we treat God's creation, which also includes your own body. So here is the key to remember about all the changes that climate change is foisting upon us, things that we may not want to do, but we may feel like we need to do. You believe what you do. It's not so much the other way around. We think of it as, you do what you believe, but actually you believe what you do. So if you do something different, your mind will come along with you. the best example comes from religion. If you like an example of that, kind of like do it physically first and then your mind will follow. The best example is from religion, and it's like, you get on your knees to pray. So kneeling actually creates a prayerful attitude over time. Even if you're feeling like rebellious and pissed off when you kneel down, it kind of helps you. That's the same thing that we would look at like food choices. Start somewhere, anywhere, and then let God's Spirit move you.
Okay. And I'm curious, where are you on the spectrum of different types of diets?
I'm a vegan that aspires to be whole food plant-based, but isn't. And I do occasionally have breaks where I'm not eating 100% vegan, but mostly I'm vegan. So every day is a new day. You start out new, you could do better the next day. So
Right, exactly. I'm wondering when you go to Wisconsin if you kind of trip yourself up and eat cheese there because there's some good cheese.
I'm lucky because cheese was never something that I particularly liked. But I'll tell you more about some of the other foods that really do trip me up.